Most people don't realize when it happened. There was no announcement, no warning, no dramatic moment where someone told you, from now on, money will run your life. It happened quietly. The first time you felt anxiety before checking your bank account. The first time you said yes to a job you hated because you needed the paycheck. The first time you postponed your dreams because now isn't the right time. That's when it started. Money didn't become your tool. You became its prisoner. And the tragedy is this. Most people believe this is normal. They believe stress is normal, debt is normal, worry is normal, living paycheck to paycheck is normal. But nothing about this is normal. It is learned behavior, and what is learned can be unlearned. Welcome to 24 Rules of Money. Never be poor again. This is not entertainment. This is not motivation for one afternoon. This is a reprogramming. Because poverty is not just a lack of money. Poverty is a system of thinking that quietly controls decisions, habits, emotions, and identity. And until that system is broken, no amount of hustle will save you. The lie you were taught about money. From childhood, most people are taught the same script. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, retire someday. It sounds responsible, it sounds safe, it sounds logical. And yet, it fails millions of people every single year. Why? Because this script was never designed to create freedom. It was designed to create compliance. It teaches you how to earn money, but not how to control it. It teaches you how to work, but not how to build wealth. It teaches you how to survive, not how to escape. And here is the uncomfortable truth. If saving money made people rich, teachers would be millionaires. If hard work alone created wealth, the poorest countries would be the richest. If education alone guaranteed success, anxiety wouldn't be the currency of adulthood. So why do we keep following rules that clearly don't work? Because nobody ever taught us new ones. Why you must learn money rules or be ruled by money. Money is not neutral. It rewards structure, it punishes ignorance, it amplifies behavior. If you don't understand how money works, it will use you. If you understand how it works, it will serve you. There is no middle ground. Most people live in reaction mode. They react to bills. They react to emergencies. They react to inflation. They react to fear. The wealthy live by rules. Rules remove emotion from decisions. Rules create consistency. Rules protect you when motivation disappears. This audiobook is not about getting rich quick. It's about never being poor again. Mentally, emotionally, financially. That requires rules that don't change when life gets hard. Rule 1. Hang on a sec. Hey there. Write in the comments what you'd like us to talk about in the next video. We promise to read all the comments and pick the best and most relevant topics. Thanks. Rule 1. Money follows. Clarity, not wishes. Poverty thrives in confusion. If you don't know exactly how much you earn, how much you spend, where your money leaks, what you want money to do for you, then money will disappear faster than you can earn it. Most people avoid clarity because clarity is uncomfortable. It forces you to see the truth. And the truth is often this. You are not broke because you don't earn enough. You are broke because your money has no instructions. Money without instructions behaves like water poured on sand. It disappears. Clarity gives money direction. Not someday, not later, now. If you don't tell money where to go, it will leave. Rule 2. Poverty is not a lack of money, it is a habit. This is where most people get offended, because they believe poverty is caused by bad luck, unfair systems, low wages, corrupt governments. Those things exist, but they are not the root. The root is habitual thinking. How you speak about money, how you react to money, how you emotionally associate money with fear, guilt, or shame. If every increase in income leads to higher spending, you don't have a money problem. You have a habit problem. If every bonus disappears within weeks, that is not bad luck. That is conditioning. If you say, money always leaves me, you're not describing reality. You are reinforcing identity, and identity always wins. Rule 3. Never work for money without learning from it. This rule alone separates the rich from everyone else. Most people work for money like machines. Time in, paycheck out. The wealthy work for education first, money second. They ask, what is this job teaching me? What skills am I acquiring? What systems am I learning? What leverage am I gaining? If your work does not increase your future earning power, it is slowly trapping you. You don't escape poverty by earning more. You escape poverty by becoming more valuable. Rule 4. Saving alone will never make you rich. Saving is protection. It is not growth. Saving stops you from drowning. It does not take you to the shore. Inflation silently punishes savers. Time erodes idle money. You save to survive emergencies. You invest to escape dependence. Confusing these two keeps people stuck forever. Rule 5. Debt is a tool or a weapon. Most people only experience debt as pain. That's because they use it emotionally. Buying status, numbing boredom, chasing validation. Debt used emotionally enslaves you. Debt used strategically accelerates you. The difference is education. Ignorance turns debt into chains. Knowledge turns debt into leverage. This rule alone decides financial destiny. Why this book will change you if you let it. This audiobook is not gentle. It does not flatter excuses. It does not reward comfort. It does not pretend the system is fair. It teaches you how to win anyway. Each rule you will hear is designed to remove fear, increase control, build independence, eliminate financial anxiety. Not someday, not when you're lucky, but systematically. And here is the most important thing you must understand before we continue. Money does not change people. Money reveals them. If you don't change who you are with little, you will not survive having more. That is why rules come first. Because without rules, money only magnifies chaos. Take a breath. This was only the beginning. The next rules will force you to see money differently. And once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it. There is a moment almost everyone experiences. You finally earn more money. A raise, a better job, a new opportunity, a sudden increase in income, and for a brief moment, you feel relief. You think, this is it. Things will finally change. But then, they don't. The stress returns. The anxiety comes back. The balance drops again. And eventually, you find yourself in the exact same emotional place you were before, just with bigger numbers. This is not an accident. This is one of the most important truths about money that almost no one understands. Income does not determine wealth. Behavior does. That is why some people earn 6 figures and live in fear, while others earn far less and sleep peacefully at night. Until your behavior changes, money only moves through you. It never stays with you. A pause before we continue. At this point, some people feel uncomfortable. That's good. Discomfort means the old story is cracking. You are not broken. You were simply taught incomplete rules, and incomplete rules create incomplete results. We are not even halfway through. The next rules will challenge how you think about time, ownership, risk, and freedom. And once those shift, money will never feel the same again. Stay with this, because the rules you haven't heard yet are the ones that decide whether you worry about money forever or never again. There is a silent realization that changes everything. It happens when you finally understand this. Money is not the reward. Time is. Money is simply the tool that buys time back. And once you see that clearly, your entire relationship with work, effort, and ambition begins to shift. Rule 6. Your lifestyle will always try to match your income. This rule destroys more financial futures than bad luck ever could. It's called lifestyle expansion. More money comes in, and suddenly, your expenses quietly increase, your standards become more expensive. Your tolerance for discomfort disappears, not because you need more, but because your identity hasn't changed. Most people don't use extra income to buy freedom. They use it to buy comfort. And comfort is addictive. It whispers, "You deserve this. You've worked hard. Enjoy life now." But comfort never builds wealth. It delays it. If every increase in income is matched by an increase in lifestyle, poverty simply wears better clothes. Rule 7. If you don't control emotions, money will control you. Money is emotional long before it is logical. Fear makes people hoard. Ego makes people overspend. Shame makes people avoid numbers. Greed makes people gamble. Most bad financial decisions are not math problems. They are emotional reactions. People buy to feel important. They spend to feel safe. They borrow to feel ahead. And then they pay the price quietly for years. Wealthy people train emotional discipline first. They delay gratification. They tolerate boredom. They resist impulses, not because they are special, but because they learned that emotional control equals financial power. Rule 8. Money rewards patience and punishes urgency. Urgency is expensive. When you rush, you overpay, you make bad deals, you accept weak opportunities. Poverty often feels urgent. Bills are due. Pressure is constant. Decisions feel rushed. This forces people into survival thinking. The wealthy operate differently. They wait. They observe. They let opportunities come to them. Patience is not passive. It is strategic. If you can wait when others panic, money will eventually move toward you. The moment of truth. If you've stayed with this audiobook until now, something has already shifted. You are no longer confused. You are no longer guessing. You are no longer waiting for luck. You understand the rules, and rules change outcomes. Most people will hear these ideas and forget them, but a very few, will apply them quietly, patiently, relentlessly. Those people will never be poor again, not because they earned more, but because they finally understood money. And once that happens, there is no going back. There is a final transformation that happens after knowledge settles in. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. But once it happens, your financial future is permanently altered. You stop hoping, you stop waiting, you stop asking, and you start operating differently. The invisible line. Most people never cross. There is an invisible line between those who struggle with money forever and those who eventually escape. That line is personal responsibility, not blame, not guilt. Responsibility. The moment you accept that, your income reflects your skills, your lifestyle reflects your choices, your future reflects your habits. You regain power. As long as money problems are someone else's fault, you remain trapped. Ownership of your situation is the key that unlocks change. Why most people never become rich, and it's not what you think. It's not because they lack intelligence. It's not because they lack opportunity. It's not because the system is unfair. It's because they never rewire their identity. Poor people see themselves as workers, consumers, survivors. Wealthy people see themselves as builders, owners, strategists. Your identity dictates your decisions, and your decisions dictate your results. Money obeys who you believe you are. If you believe, I'm bad with money, you'll avoid learning. I'll never be rich. You'll sabotage progress. Money is evil. You'll repel it. Beliefs act like invisible governors. They limit speed, growth, and scale. Wealth requires a new self-image, not arrogance, not greed, but permission. Permission to earn more, permission to keep more, permission to grow beyond your past. Why saving alone will never make you free. Saving is protection, not progress. It prevents disaster, it creates stability, but it does not create wealth. Freedom requires growth. That means skills that increase income, assets that multiply effort, systems that function without you saving is the foundation. Growth is the engine. Without growth, savings eventually run out. The dangerous myth of one day. One day I'll invest. One day I'll start a business. One day I'll take control of my money. One day is the most expensive word in the language because one day never arrives. The wealthy act before they feel ready. The poor wait until they feel safe. Safety delays action. Action creates safety. Why consistency is more powerful than talent. Dear viewer, please write in the comments what interested you most in the video. This will help us improve our videos. Talent fades, motivation fluctuates, consistency compounds. Small financial actions repeated daily beat dramatic actions done once. Automatic transfers, regular learning, consistent investing, monthly reviews. These look boring, but boring creates billionaires. You will be tested as you change. This part is rarely mentioned. When you change your financial behavior, your environment will resist. Friends will joke. Family will question. People will call you obsessed or greedy. This resistance is normal. Your growth threatens their comfort. Ignore the noise. Every person who escaped poverty faced this phase. The final mental divide. Poor thinking asks, how can I afford this? Wealth thinking asks, how can I create the value to pay for this easily? This single question changes everything. It shifts you from consumption to creation, from limitation to strategy, from stress to control. What happens when you apply these rules long enough? At first, nothing changes. Then small things change. Bills become easier. Stress reduces. Confidence grows. Then momentum builds. Opportunities appear. Income increases. Choices expand. Eventually, money stops being a source of fear. It becomes a tool. And when that happens, you are no longer chasing wealth. Wealth is responding to you. A quiet promise. If you apply these rules patiently, not perfectly, patiently, you will reach a point where bills no longer scare you. Emergencies don't panic you. The future excites you, and that moment is worth everything it took to get there. Because from that point forward, you are no longer fighting money, you are directing it. At some point, money stops feeling like an enemy. It stops feeling like something you chase, fear, or argue with. And instead, it becomes something you command. But that only happens when you understand one brutal truth. Money does not reward effort. It rewards structure. Money follows systems, not intentions. Most people want to be rich. Very few people build systems that make wealth inevitable. Intentions are emotional. Systems are mechanical. A system works when you're tired, when motivation is gone, when life is chaotic. That's why the wealthy automate everything they can. They don't rely on discipline forever. They rely on design. If your finances require constant willpower, they will fail. What a financial system really is, a system is not complicated. It's simply where money comes from, where money goes, what money builds. If any of these are unclear, you are vulnerable. Wealthy people can explain their financial system in minutes. Poor people avoid thinking about theirs. Clarity creates control. Rule 9. Never confuse activity with progress. This rule is brutal, but necessary. Many people are busy all day and still broke. They hustle, they grind, they stay exhausted. But activity without direction leads nowhere. Wealth is built by focused leverage, not endless effort. The question is never, how hard are you working? The question is this effort compounding or resetting every month? If your income depends entirely on your presence, you are trapped in a loop. Break the loop, or it will run your life. If you don't track it, it disappears. Money is invisible when unmanaged. It leaks through small subscriptions, impulse spending, lifestyle inflation. Tracking isn't about restriction, it's about awareness. Awareness removes denial. Denial is what keeps people poor. The moment you see where money actually goes, you stop guessing and start correcting. Why most people hate budgets and why they fail. Budgets fail because they feel like punishment. They say, "You can't have this. You must restrict yourself." That mindset creates rebellion. The wealthy use allocation, not restriction. They decide what percentage builds assets, what percentage fuels enjoyment, what percentage protects stability. No guilt, no shame, just intentional direction. Next additional rule, spend like the person you want to become. This rule changes behavior instantly. Before spending, ask, would the future version of me approve this? Not the broke version, not the emotional version, the disciplined future version. This question rewires priorities. Suddenly, short-term pleasure loses power. The dangerous trap of looking rich. Many people earn more and stay poor. Why? Because they spend to impress. Luxury before leverage is a financial death sentence. The wealthy delay visible success. They invest in invisible progress. While others admire appearances, they quietly build foundations. Next additional rule, your time is more valuable than your money can be replaced. Time cannot. This is why the wealthy buy back time, outsource low-value tasks, focus on leverage. They ask, what can I build once that pays me repeatedly? Working harder has limits. Working smarter compounds. Why multiple income streams matter. One income is fragile. It creates fear. Fear creates compliance. Compliance limits growth. Multiple streams create security, confidence, negotiating power. They don't appear overnight. They are built slowly, but once built, they change everything. Next additional rule, wealth is boring before it's exciting. This is where most people quit. Early wealth building looks like saying no often. Living below means delaying gratification. There are no applause, no validation, no praise, just quiet discipline. But boredom is the price of freedom. The moment money stops controlling you, it happens gradually. You stop checking prices first. You stop fearing emergencies. You stop arguing about bills, not because you're reckless, because you're prepared. Prepared people don't panic. They respond. Next additional rule, money responds to decisiveness. Hesitation is expensive. Wealthy people decide quickly and adjust slowly. Poor people hesitate endlessly and act emotionally. Decisiveness doesn't mean perfection. It means movement. Movement creates feedback. Feedback creates mastery. The final shift in this stage, at this level, money becomes predictable. Predictability creates peace. Peace creates clarity. Clarity creates growth. You stop reacting to money. You start directing it. And once that happens, you are no longer surviving financially. You are building deliberately. Making money is one skill. Keeping it is a completely different one. This is where fortunes are lost. Not because people don't earn enough, but because they never learn how to protect what they earn. Next additional rule: what you don't protect, you will lose money. Without protection invites chaos, unexpected expenses, bad decisions, economic shocks, emotional spending. The wealthy assume problems will happen. They prepare in advance. Protection is not pessimism. It is intelligence. The role of financial buffer zones. A buffer is money with no job except protection. It doesn't grow fast. It doesn't impress anyone. It doesn't feel exciting, but it absorbs impact. Without a buffer, every setback becomes a crisis. With one, problems become inconveniences. This is why the wealthy sleep better. Next additional rule: insurance is not a waste, it's a shield. Most people hate insurance because they misunderstand it. Insurance is not about profit, it's about preservation. One accident, one illness, one lawsuit. Without protection, years of progress can disappear overnight. Wealth is fragile without safeguards. Why emotions destroy more wealth than bad investments. Fear makes people sell too early. Greed makes people buy too late. Ego makes people ignore warnings. Money amplifies personality. If you're impulsive without money, you'll be reckless with it. This is why mindset always comes first. Rule 10. Money flows toward systems, not effort. Effort is temporary. Systems are permanent. A system pays you repeatedly for work done once. A system does not care if you're tired. A system does not take vacations. A system does not negotiate with emotions. Poor people sell time. Wealthy people build systems. This is not a moral judgment. It is a structural difference. If your financial life has no systems, it will always require constant effort to survive. Mate, write which city you're from. It's interesting to see which corners of the world are watching our videos. Never confuse cash flow with wealth. Cash flow feels powerful. Wealth is quiet. Cash flow pays bills. Wealth changes options. Many high earners live paycheck to paycheck. Many wealthy people earn less monthly but own more. Ownership beats income, always. The difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich people show success. Wealthy people build it. Rich people upgrade lifestyle. Wealthy people upgrade systems. Rich people chase status. Wealthy people chase stability. One is visible, the other is unstoppable. Debt is a tool or a trap. Nothing in between. Debt is not evil, but it is dangerous. The wealthy use debt to acquire assets. The poor use debt to acquire comfort. Same tool, different outcome. If debt doesn't produce income, it steals future freedom. Why comfort is the most expensive addiction. If you appreciate our efforts and our thoughts, subscribe and like this video. We need to show the world that there are many people like us. We must always continue to improve. Comfort feels harmless. It whispers, "You deserve this. You worked hard. Just this once." But comfort delays growth. Every comfort you choose over discipline extends the time you stay poor. Your network shapes your net worth. Money habits are contagious. If everyone around you complains about money, avoids responsibility, normalizes struggle, you will absorb those beliefs. The wealthy guard their environment carefully. They don't argue with broke logic. They leave it. Rule 11. Being broke is loud. Building wealth is quiet. Another truth that shocks people. Real wealth grows silently. No announcements, no flashy proof, no validation from others. Most people want to look rich first and become rich later. The wealthy reverse the order. They sacrifice appearances. They ignore opinions. They delay recognition. Why? Because attention attracts envy, pressure, and temptation. Silence protects momentum. The invisible cost of negative influence. People who fear growth will criticize ambition, not because you're wrong, but because your progress threatens their excuses. Distance is sometimes necessary. Wealth requires long-term thinking. This is the final rule, and the hardest one. Short-term thinking feels good. Long-term thinking creates freedom. Every wealthy person you admire made decisions their past self didn't enjoy, so their future self wouldn't suffer. The final transformation. At this stage, money stops being emotional. You no longer react. You anticipate. You no longer hope. You plan. You no longer chase. You build. And when money becomes calm in your life, everything else becomes clearer. A quiet question for you. If you followed these rules consistently for 5 years, who would you become? What would your life look like? What stress would disappear? What choices would open up? Wealth isn't magic. It's obedience to principles. And once you understand them, you are no longer guessing. You are building deliberately. There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when money stops being the center of your anxiety and starts becoming a tool under your control. Most people never reach this moment, not because they aren't capable, but because they quit too early or learn the wrong lessons. This chapter is about that shift. The moment you stop feeling behind. For years, money feels like a race you're losing. Bills arrive faster than progress. Goals move further away the closer you get. And every small win feels temporary. But then something changes, not in your bank account, but in your behavior. You stop panicking, you stop rushing, you stop comparing, you begin operating calmly. That's not luck, that's maturity. Rule 12, your environment will either drain or multiply you. Money habits are contagious. If everyone around you complains about money, fears money, jokes about being broke, you will absorb it unconsciously. Wealthy environments normalize long-term thinking, ownership, patience, discipline. This is why changing your environment often changes your income faster than changing jobs. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your surroundings. Rule 13, never depend on a single source of control. This rule scares people, but it saves lives. Any system that can remove your income controls you. One job, one client, one platform. Dependence creates fear. Fear kills decision-making. The wealthy diversify control. They build multiple streams, not for greed, but for security. Security creates calm. Calm creates clarity. Clarity creates power. When money stops controlling your mood, the poor react emotionally to money. Good month? Relief? Bad month? Panic. The wealthy separate emotion from finance. They don't celebrate income. They celebrate systems. They don't fear expenses. They expect them. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. The most dangerous phase, early success. Here's a truth few talk about. Early success destroys more people than failure, a raise, a good investment, a profitable month. Suddenly, discipline loosens, spending increases, ego gets louder. This is where people relapse into poverty patterns. Why the rich move slower as they gain more speed is necessary at the beginning. Precision is necessary later. Early on, you must act fast to escape stagnation. Later, one bad move costs more than 10 good ones can fix. This is why wealthy people double-check decisions, delay gratification, say no more often than yes. Not because they're cautious, but because they understand risk asymmetry. The rule of wealth maintenance growth gets attention. Maintenance builds empires. Most people chase expansion before they stabilize. They add new expenses, new responsibilities, new risks. Before mastering what they already have, wealth grows best when it is boring. Boring is powerful. Boring finances mean predictable expenses, reliable income streams, consistent savings, controlled risk. Chaos feels exciting. Stability builds freedom. The rich don't live dramatically. They live deliberately. The silent skill, saying no to more. At a certain level, wealth is not about addition. It's about subtraction. Subtracting bad opportunities, time-wasting commitments, status-driven purchases, emotional decisions. Every no protects progress. Why most people never feel enough? Enough is not a number. It's a mindset. People who never defined enough will always want more and feel less. The wealthy define what they want, why they want it. When they will stop, clarity ends greed. Greed destroys clarity. Money as a reflection of self-respect. How you treat money is how you treat your future self. Spending without thought is disrespect. Avoiding planning is neglect. Ignoring risk is arrogance. Discipline is self-respect in action. The difference between freedom and flexibility. Flexibility means you can adjust. Freedom means you don't have to. Many people confuse the two. Freedom comes from ownership, margin, time, leverage, not from income alone. The final inner shift. At this stage, something profound happens. You stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make my money work better? That question changes everything. Why wealth is a responsibility, not a reward. Money magnifies who you already are. If you're careless, it exposes you. If you're disciplined, it multiplies you. This is why mindset always comes first. Wealth is not the finish line. It's a responsibility you must be ready to carry. A moment of honesty. Look at your habits, not your dreams. Your habits are voting every day for the life you'll live later. Not someday. Not when things get better. Right now. Rule 14. Money respects those who respect it. If you treat money carelessly, it leaves. If you ignore it, it punishes you. If you fear it, it controls you. If you respect it, it stays. Respect means tracking it, planning it, protecting it, deploying it intentionally. Money is not evil. It is obedient. It follows discipline. The quiet promise. If you live by these rules long enough, money stops being the main character in your life. It becomes background. And when money moves to the background, you finally move to the foreground. That's when life truly begins. Up to this point, you've learned how money behaves. Now we go deeper, because understanding money is one thing. Commanding it is another. Most people spend their lives reacting. Bills arrive, they react. Opportunities appear, they hesitate. Problems hit, they panic. The wealthy do something different. They operate from rules, not emotions. And rules don't bend under pressure. Why most people never escape financial stress. It's not because they don't work hard. It's because they make decisions in the moment instead of in advance. They decide when they're tired. They decide when they're emotional. They decide when fear is loud. And decisions made in chaos always create more chaos. Wealth begins when decisions are made once, then followed forever. The difference between income and control. Income feels powerful. Control is powerful. You can earn more and still be trapped. You can earn less and still be free. Control means you know where your money goes. You know what your next move is. You are never forced to rush. Control turns money into a servant. Lack of control turns money into a master. Why rich people seem calm during crisis. They don't have better luck. They have systems. They've already decided how much they save, how much they invest, how much they spend, how much they risk. When crisis hits, they don't ask, "What should I do?" They already know. Rules create distance from emotion. Emotion is expensive. Impulse is expensive. Ego is expensive. Urgency is expensive. Rules eliminate emotion from money decisions. Rules say, this is what we do. This is what we don't do. No exceptions. And every exception weakens the system. Why financial freedom is boring, and that's the point. Freedom doesn't feel like excitement. It feels like no panic, no rushing, no fear of tomorrow. That's why most people don't want it badly enough. They want excitement. They want fast wins. They want dramatic change. Wealth rewards patience. Poverty rewards impulse. Rule 15, if you trade time for money forever, you will never escape. This is not an insult. It is a structural truth. When your income is directly tied to hours worked, your ceiling is fixed. There are only so many hours in a day, only so much energy in your body, only so many years in your life. Even high-paying jobs suffer from this limitation. Doctors burn out. Lawyers age fast. Executives live under pressure. They earn well, but they are still exchanging life for income. Wealth begins when money is no longer dependent on your physical presence. Until then, you are surviving, not building. Rule 16, ownership is the great divider between rich and poor. This rule is uncomfortable because it exposes the truth. Poor people work in systems. Wealthy people own pieces of systems. Ownership changes everything. When you own, you benefit from growth. You collect value repeatedly. You gain leverage over time. Employees are paid once. Owners are paid continuously. This is why the wealthy obsess over assets, not paychecks. Assets do the work after you stop. The invisible shift that changes everything. At some point, something clicks. You stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make money irrelevant to my stress? That's when you've crossed the line from survival to control. The rule most people never learn. Money is not managed monthly. It's managed daily through behavior. Every purchase trains you. Every decision shapes you. Every delay strengthens you. Your habits are teaching your future how to live. The warning few people heed. If you don't create rules for your money, someone else will. Debt, lifestyle pressure, social expectations, emergencies, and they will not be kind. Where this is heading, in the next section, we will dismantle the illusion of enough money, the lie of financial comfort, the dangerous zone where people fall back into stress, because wealth isn't lost in disasters, it's lost in comfort. And most people never see it coming. There is a moment that destroys more financial futures than failure ever could. It's not poverty, It's not debt. It's not bad luck. It's relief. Relief is dangerous because when people finally breathe, they stop paying attention. The comfort trap. Most people don't fall backwards when life gets hard. They fall backwards when life gets easier. They get a raise. They clear some debt. They finally feel okay. And that feeling whispers a lie. You made it. So they loosen discipline. They spend a little more. They delay investing. They stop tracking. Comfort slowly erases urgency. And urgency is what built the progress in the first place. Why discipline must outlive struggle. Struggle forces discipline. Comfort tests it. Anyone can be careful when they're scared. Only the wealthy stay careful when they feel safe. That's the difference. The rich don't tighten when times are bad. They never loosen when times are good. The most dangerous number in finance. That number is not zero. It's enough. The moment you say, I have enough money now, growth stops. Vision shrinks. Standards soften. Enough is a ceiling. And ceilings always limit you. Why rich people keep living below their means? Not because they have to, because they remember something most people forget. Money disappears faster than it arrives. Expenses are loyal. Income is not. So they anchor their lives to discipline, not income level. The rule of financial humility. The moment you feel smarter than money, money teaches you a lesson. The moment you feel safe without structure, structure collapses. Wealth requires humility, not weakness. Awareness. Why big wins can ruin small minds. Money magnifies who you already are. If you were impatient before money, you become reckless with money. If you were disciplined before money, you become powerful with money. This is why sudden wealth destroys people. They skip the mindset training. The silent difference between rich and broke thinking. Friend, write your opinion on this topic in the comments. Do you agree with us or not? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Poor thinking asks, what can I buy now? Rich thinking asks, what can I delay to multiply later? Delay is the true currency of wealth. Every delay is an investment. Every impulse is a tax. Why most people never build momentum? They reset their lifestyle to match income. The wealthy reset their systems, not their spending. New money goes into assets, skills, leverage, protection, not comfort. Comfort comes last, if it comes at all. The point. No one tells you wealth is not built by avoiding mistakes. It's built by never repeating the same one twice. And the most repeated mistake of all? Relaxing too early. What comes next? Next, we confront the hardest truth in money. Why financial freedom feels empty to those who chase it wrong, and powerful to those who build it right. Because money alone is not the prize. Control is. And most people don't even know what that means yet. There is a truth about money that almost no one wants to hear. You can earn more than you ever imagined and still live like a prisoner, because wealth without control is just a louder form of poverty. Rule 17, wealth comes from delayed gratification, not big wins. Movies lie. They show overnight success, sudden breakthroughs, instant riches. Reality is quieter. Wealth is built slowly, repeatedly, boringly. It comes from saving when it hurts, investing when it's uncomfortable, waiting when others spend. Delayed gratification is painful at first, but every delay compounds power. Those who cannot wait will always work for those who can. Rule 18. Risk is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Most people fear risk. They say, it's too dangerous. I might lose money. It's safer to stay where I am. But safety is an illusion. Inflation is risk. Job loss is risk. Depending on one income is risk. The wealthy do not avoid risk. They understand it. They calculate it. They spread it. They control it. Ignorance creates fear. Education creates confidence. The biggest lie about financial freedom: most people think freedom means no boss, no schedule, no limits. But that's not freedom. That's chaos. Real freedom is choice without fear. And fear doesn't disappear just because income increases. Why many high earners feel poor? They make more, but they owe more. They earn faster, but they spend faster. Their lifestyle grows faster than their systems. So every month becomes a race. Every bill becomes pressure. Every pause becomes anxiety. That's not wealth. That's dependence in disguise. The difference between money and control: money is a resource. Control is a skill. Money comes and goes. Control compounds. If you don't master control, money will always escape you, sometimes slowly, sometimes violently. The invisible prison most people live in. They can't quit. They can't rest. They can't slow down. Because stopping would expose how fragile everything is. That's why many people fear weekends. They fear silence. They fear stillness. Because stillness reveals instability. Why rich people care more about cash flow than cash? Cash is temporary. Flow is stability. One pays today, the other pays tomorrow. Wealth is not about having money. It's about not needing to chase it. The rule that changes everything: never build a life that requires constant effort to survive. If your income stops and your life collapses, you don't own your life. Your life owns you. Why systems matter more than motivation: motivation fades, systems remain. Motivation gets you started. Systems keep you alive. That's why wealthy people obsess over automation, redundancy, predictability. They don't want excitement. They want certainty, the power of boring money. Boring money pays bills quietly. Boring money doesn't demand attention. Boring money doesn't spike emotions. Boring money builds peaceful lives, and peace is the ultimate luxury. Why peace is the true goal. Most people chase money for status. The wealthy chase money for silence, silence from worry, silence from pressure, silence from fear. They don't want more noise. They want space. The moment you know you're changing, you stop asking, "How much can I make?" and start asking, "How little do I need to worry?" That's the shift from hunger to control. What comes next? Next, we break the final illusion: why chasing money alone never works, and why money only stays when it serves something deeper. Because money doesn't follow effort, it follows alignment. And most people are misaligned without knowing it. There is a reason money comes into some lives and disappears from others. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's not even effort. It's identity. Rule 19. Money moves toward clarity. Confusion repels wealth. If you don't know where your money goes, what you want financially, how much freedom costs, money cannot organize itself around you. Clarity is magnetic. Wealthy people are clear. Clear goals, clear timelines, clear priorities. Vague desires create vague results. Rule 20. Discipline beats motivation. Every time motivation fades, discipline remains. Wealth is not built on inspiration. It is built on consistency, automatic saving, scheduled investing, routine reviews. Discipline removes emotion from money, and when emotion leaves, progress accelerates. The harsh truth about wealth: money does not stay where it feels unsafe, and money feels unsafe in the hands of someone who hasn't changed internally. You can win the lottery and lose it. You can get a promotion and still struggle. You can double your income and remain stressed. Because money doesn't respond to desire. It responds to who you are being. Why most people can't hold wealth. They still think like survivors. Survivors react. Survivors consume. Survivors spend to feel relief. And relief is expensive. Survivor thinking says, enjoy it now, because it might disappear. Wealth thinking says, protect it, because it's meant to grow. The identity gap. Most people try to earn their way into wealth. The wealthy become first, then earn. That's the gap no one talks about. If your identity hasn't expanded, your income will collapse back to familiar levels. Not because the world is unfair, but because the mind always returns to what feels normal. Why financial self-sabotage is so common: overspending, bad investments, risky decisions, impulse purchases. These aren't money problems, they're identity conflicts. Your mind tries to return you to the level where you feel comfortable, even if that comfort is stress. The rule of consistency. The brain will always choose consistency over success. If success threatens who you believe you are, your brain will quietly destroy it. That's why real wealth begins with self-redefinition. The question that changes everything. Ask yourself honestly, if my income doubled tomorrow, would my thinking support it? Would your habits protect it? Would your discipline respect it? Would your patience grow it? Or would fear rush to spend it? Why the rich are boring on purpose. They don't rush. They don't panic. They don't chase. They move slowly because they don't need to prove anything. Speed is for the insecure. Patience is for the powerful. How the wealthy rewire their identity. They practice delay. They build restraint. They value stability over excitement. They don't ask, what feels good now? They ask, what stays strong later? The moment identity shifts, you stop using money to impress. You stop using money to escape. You stop using money to soothe emotions. Money becomes a tool, not therapy. And that's when it stays. Why money respects clarity. Confusion repels wealth. Clarity attracts it. Clear goals, clear rules, clear limits. Wealth flows toward order. Chaos repels it. What comes next? Next, we expose the final mental trap. Why wanting money too badly actually pushes it away, and why detachment is the real magnet. This is the paradox most people never understand. There is a paradox at the center of wealth that almost no one understands. The more desperately you chase money, the faster it runs from you. Not because money is cruel, but because desperation is loud, and wealth only listens to calm. Why neediness repels opportunity. Need creates pressure. Pressure creates bad decisions. Bad decisions destroy trust, both internal and external. When you need money, you rush. You accept bad deals. You compromise your standards, and the world can sense that energy. Opportunity does not approach urgency. It approaches stability. The hidden signal you send to the world. Every action sends a signal. Desperation says, I am afraid. Calm says, I can wait. And waiting is power. The wealthy are not wealthy because they move faster. They are wealthy because they can afford to wait. Why the poor think speed is success. Hurry feels productive. Movement feels like progress. But speed without direction is panic in disguise. The poor rush because time feels scarce. The rich slow down because time works for them. Money is attracted to confidence, not hunger. Confidence says, I don't need this deal. I choose it. Hunger says, I'll take anything. Which one do you trust more? Which one would you give money to? The rule of detachment. Detachment is not indifference, it is control. It means you want wealth, but you don't depend on it emotionally. You don't let money define your worth. You don't let lack define your mood. You don't let numbers control your self-respect. That emotional independence is magnetic. Rule 21. Poverty thinks short-term. Wealth thinks in decades. Short-term thinking asks, what do I want now? Long-term thinking asks, what will I be proud of later? Poor decisions feel good immediately and hurt later. Wealthy decisions hurt now and feel good forever. This is the trade-off, and most people choose wrong repeatedly. Rule 22. Money follows. Value, not desperation. Desperation repels opportunity. When you need money urgently, you accept bad deals. You undervalue yourself. You compromise standards. Wealthy people focus on value creation. They solve problems. They build useful things. They improve systems. Money arrives naturally when value exists. Why emotional control creates financial control. If money can change your emotions, it controls you. If you control your emotions, money follows your lead. This is why the rich protect their inner calm more than their income. Calm minds make clear decisions. Clear decisions compound. The long game. Most people refuse to play. Wealth is quiet at first, slow, invisible. That scares people, so they quit. They jump strategies. They chase shortcuts. The wealthy stay. They understand something simple. The beginning always lies. It looks empty. It feels unrewarding. It tests patience. But patience is the entry fee. Why wealth is built in silence. No applause, no validation, no instant feedback. Just repetition, discipline, consistency, and silence. The world sees results, never the years of restraint. The moment everything changes, it changes when you stop asking, how fast can I get rich? And start asking, how strong can I become? Strong minds hold wealth, weak minds leak it. The final shift before freedom. You stop chasing money. You build systems. You build skills. You build identity. And money notices. Not because you begged, but because you became solid. What comes next? Now, the audiobook returns to its final movement, where everything you've learned becomes action, where rules turn into habits, where discipline turns into freedom. You're no longer chasing wealth. You're ready to keep it. There is a phase of wealth that feels strangely quiet. No applause, no urgency, no external pressure. And this is where most people fail. Because when no one is watching, your true financial character is revealed. When discipline is no longer enforced, please like and subscribe if you want a better future for your children, your family, and yourself. It's very difficult to achieve success today, but I'm sure you'll succeed. All you have to do is learn and discover new things. Early on, fear keeps you disciplined. Later, ambition does. But at this stage, nothing is forcing you anymore. No boss, no deadlines, no crisis, only habits. And habits don't lie. Why most people collapse in comfort. Comfort weakens people faster than struggle ever did. When the pressure disappears, savings stop growing, spending creeps up, standards slowly drop, not suddenly, quietly. That's how wealth leaks away. The rule of invisible consistency. The rich continue doing boring things long after they don't need to. They track money even when they're wealthy, budget even when they have margin, review decisions even when they're confident, not because they're afraid, because they're serious. The difference between having money and being rich. Having money is temporary. Being rich is behavioral. Money can arrive quickly. Wealth must be maintained daily. If your habits don't support your income will eventually disappear. Why no one talks about wealth fatigue. After years of discipline, people get tired. Tired of planning, tired of restraint, tired of saying no. This is where discipline becomes identity. If you are disciplined, you don't need motivation. Rule 23. The first goal is freedom, not luxury. Luxury is loud. Freedom is quiet. Most people chase symbols of wealth, cars, houses, status. The wealthy chase independence, freedom to choose, freedom to walk away, freedom to say no. Luxury without freedom is a trap. Rule 24. Once momentum begins, protect it at all costs. This is the final rule and the most important. Momentum is fragile. Bad habits destroy it. Distractions slow it. Ego kills it. When wealth-building momentum starts, life will test you. Temptation will appear. People will doubt you. Old patterns will call you back. Ignore them. Momentum is rare. Protect it. The final enemy. Subtle entitlement. Entitlement whispers, you deserve this. You've worked hard enough. Just this once. And once becomes a pattern. The wealthy ask a different question. Does this align with who I'm becoming? Money as a mirror. Your bank account reflects your patience, your honesty, your emotional control. Not intelligence, not luck. Character. Why freedom requires structure. The freer your life becomes, the more structure it needs. Without structure, time dissolves, focus fades, money leaks. Freedom without discipline is chaos. The highest form of wealth, the richest people don't feel rich. They feel calm, prepared, unrushed. They don't chase, they choose. The final inner check. Ask yourself, honestly, if no one judged you, if no one knew your income, if no one saw your purchases, would you still make the same decisions? That answer tells you everything. What lasts after money markets change? Income fluctuates, opportunities come and go, but habits remain. And habits decide whether wealth stays or quietly walks away. The promise of these rules: follow these rules long enough, and money stops being a problem you solve and becomes a system that supports you. That's real wealth, not excess, not luxury, but control. Take a breath here, because the final message is not about rules. It's about who you choose to be when this audiobook ends. This is where it all comes together, not in another rule, not in another strategy, not in another idea, but in a decision, a quiet one, a permanent one, the decision to never return to financial chaos again. The moment you stop hoping, most people hope money will fix their life. The wealthy decide their life will no longer be vulnerable to money. Hope waits. Decisions act. Hope reacts to bills. Decisions build buffers. Hope asks, will this work? Decisions say, this is the system. Why poverty is not just lack, it's instability. Being poor isn't only about income, it's about not knowing what next month looks like, making decisions under pressure, living one emergency away from panic. Wealth removes panic first. Luxury comes later, if at all. The true purpose of money. Money is not for showing off, not for proving worth, not for status. Money is for time, options, peace. Anything beyond that is decoration, and decorations never come before foundations. The final rule that holds all others together: you don't manage money once, you manage it forever. There is no finish line, no moment where discipline expires, no age where awareness stops. Wealth is not a phase, it is a lifestyle of awareness. What happens when you master these rules? Something subtle but powerful occurs. You stop chasing quick wins, fearing expenses, stressing over income gaps. You start thinking long-term, acting calmly, choosing deliberately. Money stops controlling your emotions, and that's when it finally obeys you. The quiet confidence of financial control. The richest feeling isn't spending, it's knowing, I can handle this. No rush, I'm prepared. That confidence cannot be bought. It must be built, rule by rule, choice by choice, month by month. Why most people will never follow this path? Because it's not dramatic. It's not exciting. It doesn't go viral. It requires saying no when others say yes, being boring when others flex, thinking decades while others think weekends. And that's exactly why it works. The life you're really building, you're not just building wealth. You're building stability for your future self, freedom for your family, control over your time. Money is just the tool. The real product is peace. A question only you can answer when this audiobook ends. Will you return to old habits, forget these rules, or quietly change everything? No one will clap, no one will notice, until one day they ask how you're so calm, how you're never stressed, how you always seem prepared, and you'll know the answer. The final truth. You will never be poor again, not because you made more money, but because you stopped living without rules. And rules, when followed consistently, turn chaos into freedom. This is not motivation. This is a blueprint. What you do next decides everything. End.